Hello and welcome back to my FPL channel. I am FPL D Unit and today you are here on the back of a massive 20 points to Ahmad, and unfortunately my captain Bruno were 4 doubling to 8, but a massive green arrow. I am back inside the top 20,000 teams. I think we'll get into the rank a little bit later on, but I'm pretty sure I'm 17,000 under 17,500. Either way, it's fantastic. Massive green arrow. Even though I got the Bruno captaincy decision wrong, I'm not overly complaining. 92 points is what I got all out in game week 21. And I'm sitting here pretty damn happy ahead of game week 22 with 2 free transfers. And today you have joined me for transfer tips. Now, I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff, and I'm actually in two minds of rolling now. Like when we look at the fixtures coming up, and particularly with some forward planning, which I've actually sat there between game week 21 and 22 and actively thought about, hold on, do I actually need to make a transfer here? Because forward planning ahead and potentially what I'm looking at for blank game weeks and double game weeks, maybe the smartest decision for my actual team at the moment is to do nothing. Look, I'm in a pretty good spot. So we'll get into it. And without further ado, let's jump into transfer tips for game week 22. So, bunch of stuff here to cover. Obviously, there have been players that have been underperforming. And lots of people will be looking at the likes of Nicholas Jackson saying he's underperforming. Well, I'm going to give you a reason to not sell him. I am a Nicholas Jackson owner, and I've held him since game week 12, and I've endured quite a miserable run of returns from him, considering that I haven't actually... he's been sitting, I haven't benched him at all. So he's been playing every single week and literally just getting me 2 points every single week. I mean, like, he scored once and 4 and like 2 of the last 7 weeks. I mean, that's not really good enough what you want. But when you think for a second about who you're going to bring in for him instead, and if you've already got Chris Wood like I have, and you've got Isak, there's no need to be transferring Jackson. Now, a lot of people are going, oh, bring in Mateta. Well, we're going to look at Mateta's numbers. And yes, he is good. Nice differential as well. Not saying he's not a bad buy. I'm just saying that if you've got Jackson, is there really a need to swap him for Mateta? I don't think there is. And hopefully I'll be able to convince you otherwise today that that is the correct way as well. So, look, I actually think that the best play at the moment with the double game week coming up is to bank the transfers, and hopefully that will help your team look a bit better. And yeah, I just think that's probably what you need to be doing. But I do think it is also time to start targeting some Palace players, particularly the players that are in form. Like, there are some teams in massive, really good form. Like Newcastle, amazing form. Palace look like they're coming in some form. And yeah, as I said, you really need to be planning your transfers about maximising those points in double game week 24. Now, I realistically may not even bother going with an Everton player for that particular week. Like, I just don't think they're going to do very well against Liverpool. They're not going to score goals, so that rules out all their attacking players, and then you're relying on them keeping clean sheets. We saw on the weekend it's not that easy. And even this week we saw not that easy. So, for me, I'm not sure if that's a place that you really want to be going to. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Obviously, at the end of this, at the back end of this video as well, if you are here for the wildcard draft, sorry, you have to sit through all this. I will be covering that at the end. It's only going to be like a 5-minute thing. It's very similar to last week's wildcard draft with a slight few variations. So by all means, please bear with me. Crystal Palace, as I said, great fixtures for them, and they are in form. The new manager bounces, do you have to be aware of them? West Ham obviously got off to a flyer under Graham Potter with a win against Fulham at home, but they also didn't look overly fabulous from a defensive standpoint. I mean, it was kind of unlucky that it was literally a carbon copy of the goal. Fabianski obviously not very good at determining crosses like that, but either way, I'm expecting them to improve. I definitely can see one there. For Everton, they really need to sign some forward players, because I can't see how Moyes is going to do much better than what Dyche did when none of their forwards are any good. So I'm not sure if there's going to be a real new manager bounce at Everton until they actually sign someone that can hopefully score them some goals. But for West Ham, I can definitely see it happening. Looks like they already look a bit more better defensively organised. Wouldn't be surprised if they kept the clean sheet this weekend against Palace, and I wouldn't be surprised if they scored as well. So let's just put it that way. Attacking returns keep on coming. So if expensive defenders, I really do not believe at this point in the season that they are worth it. People talk about Gabriel and the Arsenal defence. Yes, he was unlucky not to get an assist on that Dominic Solanke own goal, but 6.4 million, you can get Milenkovic, who is 1.6 million cheaper does exactly the same thing, same attacking data in terms of like expected goals per 90, etc., etc. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 7.2 million. Again, look at Lewis Hall, 5 million. Robinson, 5 million. These guys have more attacking returns than Trent Alexander-Arnold on the season. I think Hall has. I think Hall might have matched him maybe. But in reality, why spend up the money for someone that can get the same job done, probably in arguably better form as well, might I add, with Hall and Robinson. Robinson's got 9 assists on the season. No one's catching him this year in terms of defensive players, I think, in terms of attacking returns. I'd be shocked if that changes. In regards to, like, look, there again weren't many clean sheets. Obviously, Brighton kept the clean sheet. So I think there was 4 teams this week that kept clean sheets. So 16 again conceded a goal, at least one goal. Honestly, it's just not worth paying up in defence. There's just so many conceding. And as soon as you've conceded, it pretty much rules you out of the bonus points. So for me, you might as well just go cheap, and then that's the best way. And then you can spend up money in your forward line, and you can get some stacked forward lines, a bit like what mine's looking like at the moment. Tottenham assets, are they worth the risk? Are the Manchester clubs worth the risk? Well, this week, if you invested in the Manchester clubs, it did pay off, particularly if you went with one Amad Diallo and one Phil Foden. And if you had both of them, like I did, you got 35 points. Massive green arrow. I don't know if that's a play moving forward. I mean, Phil Foden's obviously got the Ipswich game this week. 1 week punt, very good, but like realistically, you should have brought him in when Saka got injured, like I did. He's actually matched Anthony Gordon in terms of points obtained since that Saka injury. So you could have gone to either. Obviously, Gordon significantly less and has gone up way quicker in price. Probably much better value for money. But I'm not unhappy with the way that the plays worked out. I needed one big haul from Foden to justify the move there. It's now come. I've now got the Ipswich game to come, and then I'll probably transfer him. Yes, it might go to Gordon then, and I'm wasting a transfer. But at the moment, it gives you another week to think about it. There could be an injury to people, and then, you're making different moves. So for me, it's worked out very well. Which players need moving? Rotation risks definitely do. Luis Diaz continues to disappoint. The people that brought him in must be kicking themselves for getting baited in after the start of the season. I mean, I don't know. I'm just glad I didn't even consider it. And yeah, do we have to be concerned with the run Fulham are in? Like, Fulham have not beaten some what we thought were going to be fairly easy-ish teams. Chelsea, ditto. Their run of form has become exceptionally concerning. They're not scoring a lot of goals. Yeah, but they've got Wolves at home. So look, I don't think there's any reason to panic. Liverpool as well, also having a tiny little bit of a title wobble potentially. Arsenal aren't in the best form of either. Should we be wary of them? I'm not 100% sure. Salah obviously blanked for the first time, and God knows how long. That obviously affects Liverpool quite significantly. And then obviously being aware of suspensions, injuries and fixtures. So yeah, let's get into, what's the crack with transfer tips for this week. So this is just my points. As you can see there, massive 92 points there from me. The only disappointing thing was the Bruno captaincy call. That wasn't the correct one. But other than that, even though Chris Wood was sitting there on the bench with 9 points, like, my team just dominated. I mean, like, in reality, I was never benching Ahmad against Southampton. Yes, Bruno only got 4 points, 2 bonus points in that 4. Didn't actually get an attacking return. Nicholas Jackson obviously only got the assist. But the data suggests that I got the call right. I mean, all my other attackers outperformed the XG of Chris Wood. It's just Chris Wood scored and some of my blokes didn't. So that's just unfortunate. As you can see there, massive, I was just over 17,500, 17,687. So massive green arrow, pretty happy with that. In from 45,000, so literally halved my rank this week. So hopefully that continues. I'm obviously looking pretty excited for this game week as well coming up. I've got some really nice players and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's look at the team of the week and whether you should own any of these players. So Dubravka would be a nice second goalkeeper at this point, but Nicholas Pope is meant to be close to getting back to fitness. Gay, I said in my differentials video, I don't mind him. He's actually a pretty good option. And he's significantly cheaper than Munoz as well if you want to save a little bit of money there. Ahmad's brilliant. I thought he was going to be good. And ever since I bought him back in on wildcard and since Ten Hag got the sack, how that man ever didn't continue to play him, I'll never know. This dude is just phenomenal. He was really good. Awobi finally returned and he's now up to like the 5th most high scoring midfielder of the season. So look, he's been bargain basement and he's been great. Phil Foden, obviously in my team, brilliant player and, got the job done. And Semenyo, again, backed that up. So like some of these players, should be owned by teams. Matoma, I wouldn't say he should be owned. I don't think Brighton are in the best run. Yes, they won 2-0 at Ipswich, but it was a game that you would expect them to win. And they, for some reason, of late, haven't actually beaten those kind of teams. Isak, again, just continues his steamrolling at the moment. 16 points. Very unlucky not to make it to the player of the week. Ahmad obviously outdid him with that very, very late hat-trick. 12-minute hat-trick, by the way. And Krista Woody Woodpecker continues to make the team of the week with another goal and another 3 bonus points. So someone you should definitely be looking at investing in. So just even looking at the quick points here. Gabriel Jesus, that makes sense. He's the most transferred out. Luis Diaz, that makes sense. He's second most transferred out. The third, Nicholas Jackson was the most transferred out player last week. And he's now up to third again this game week. I don't understand why people are selling him. I honestly don't get it. Cunha makes a little bit of sense. They obviously have that hard run and he didn't really do much in that game, and Wolves didn't look very good either, I didn't think, against Newcastle, but they are in really good form, Newcastle. So let's have a look at the top transfers out and go into a little bit more detail whether you should be holding, sticking or moving these players on. So Gabriel Jesus, everyone just needs to sell him. He needs to go down to 0. He's out for the next year. Unfortunately, wish him a speedy recovery, but unlucky. Luis Diaz, again, 7.5. He's going back down in price again. This man, he just wasn't very good against Nottingham Forest, let's be honest. And Darwin Núñez is obviously going to be back from suspension. Jota again scored. So it's going to be inevitable at some point that Jota's going to starting again. And that's going to affect Diaz's minutes even more. So for me, he's not someone I'm not even remotely interested in buying him, even before the double game week. So for me, 100% I can guarantee it's a sell. Yes, the fixture run is actually quite nice from a Liverpool's perspective, attacking-wise especially. I just can't say he's a good buy. Like that's the honest facts. Nicholas Jackson. Now, I just want to quickly show what's going on here. Nicholas Jackson's expected goal involvement for the season. Now, lots of people selling him. I'm just going to bring you down to the very bottom. He has 16 attacking returns for the season, 9 goals, 5 assists, 0.59 expected goals per 90, 0.06 expected assists per 90. Yes, he has massively underperformed the last 7 weeks. Of that, there is no denying. It's probably even actually further than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Since the Aston Villa game. Last 8 weeks, my bad. But they've got Wolves at home, and Wolves looked horrible. Like, if you compare him to, Wood's got to be on here somewhere. I'll just keep going, sorry. I'm just going to quickly see. I don't like cutting these things out. I just think it makes it a bit more authentic when I'm like looking for things. I can't even find Chris Wood on here. That's because no one's selling him. Because the man is too good. Oh, there he is. So look, Chris Wood in comparison, look at the last 8 weeks and the number of XG he's had. It's nothing compared. Compared to Jackson, he's 0.39. That's significantly worse for the season. 0.02 expected assists. And he has actually less attacking. In fact, they've actually got the same. It was 9 and 5, but Chris Wood's had 13 goals and 1 assist. So like they've both got the same. Arguably, if you look at the fixtures, Chris Wood has a brilliant run of the next 4 fixtures, and he is a fantastic buy. 100%. If you are thinking about buying a forward, he should be 100% in your team. We've got the Southampton at home fixture. You could even captain him this week and you wouldn't even be mad about it. But I wouldn't be just diving in haphazardly and selling Nicholas Jackson for him. I think I've got Nicholas Jackson, Chris Wood and Isak in my team. And I think that's actually the ultimate forward line that you've got at the moment. So I'm just trying to say that Nicholas Jackson is far better than what people are giving him credit for. And I just think, again, he's almost got 0.2 more expected goals per 90 than Chris Wood. Like it's going to come. And when you look at the fixture run here, Wolves, Man City, West Ham, Brighton, Villa, Southampton and Leicester, like the next 8 games, actually the next 7 games, he's got 4 of the best teams he could be playing. And all of them are at home. Like, don't be selling him. I don't understand why people are like, no forward planning's going on here. He's going to pop off in one of these games, probably against Wolves on the weekend. Score a brace, and then everyone's going to be hopping back on him. So I wouldn't be selling him. Cunha, 100%. That fixture run for Wolves is not looking kind at all. Again, you probably could look to buy him back in and around about game week 26, 27. The next 4 weeks, so you don't want to be part of that, I don't think. So for me, that's a good sell. João Pedro, obviously disappointing in this game against Ipswich, considering they did it. Brighton have a nice fixture run coming up, so I wouldn't be selling him. They obviously have Southampton at 26. Man City in 29 is not ideal in that blank game week, but you know, there are better forwards. If you can get to Chris Wood, 100%, I'd be getting rid of João Pedro. No point at all. Brian Mbeumo, I'm not sure why people are selling him. Yes, he disappointed against Man City. They've obviously got Liverpool this week. Realistically, the next 3 weeks are going to be tough, but then he's got a nice little run of fixtures, and I'm definitely considering buying him in game week 25. Ideally, I could bring him in next week in game week 23 for Phil Foden once his run of fixtures runs out. But if Phil Foden goes again this week, I'm quite happy to play him against Chelsea and see how it goes. Raya, lots of people getting frustrated with Arsenal conceding goals. And again, it's 3 weeks in a row now. He hasn't delivered a return. Lots of people just selling him to sells, or they could be going to Alisson Becker in preparation for the double game week, or to Jordan Pickford. Again, really good transfers there if that's where you're looking at going. Enzo, again, he was unlucky. He's playing 90 minutes every week. He just hasn't been involved at all the last 5 weeks, which is frustrating when you've got Ahmad, who's now 5.4, delivering 20 points. I mean, and then 9 the week, and then 9 the week before, I think it is. Yeah, just unbelievable. It's just unlucky, really. Salah, again, expensive defenders leaving the squads. I've got no problem with that at all. I don't think you should be investing anywhere near 6 million. You should be investing more than 5 million in any defender as far as I'm concerned this year. Yes, I've got Julian Timber in my team, but he is definitely someone I'm looking to get rid of, and potentially he might become Canade in preparation for that double game week for Liverpool, if I think they're going to keep clean sheets. Now, if they don't, I think I'll just go with an extra attacker. And I'm not convinced they are at the moment. Trent, again, disappointing. Yes, the assist threat is still there. It always is with him. Unfortunately, a lot of the time this season just hasn't translated into attacking returns. Only 5 attacking returns for the season, 1 goal, 4 assists. Easy sell. Madison again started on the bench. Not surprised he's on the list. Gabko played 90 minutes here and should have probably got a return with 0.63 expected goal involvement. Not sure why people are selling him, particularly when there's a double game week coming up. That doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to me. Watkins scored. Probably not going to score this week against Arsenal, but he would be involved if he is. But then it's a nice little run of 3 fixtures after that. So for me, I wouldn't be selling him at all. Raul Jimenez, again, ditto. He played 90 minutes here. Was unlucky not to get a goal. Leicester away is a very nice fixture on paper, so they should do well this week, Fulham. So I wouldn't be selling any Fulham assets. Virgil again and Guardiol, expensive defenders, not really worth. Haaland continues to be sold now. Obviously, that blank against Brentford has killed probably the last few people that probably were captaining him for, it's time to go. Gabriel, ditto, expensive defenders. Solanke, unlucky with the own goal. I would say on Solanke that Tottenham's run of fixtures coming up is actually looking really good on paper. So, of all the players that I would be investing in, he would be the one. Now, he played 90 minutes. He literally plays 90 minutes every week. The only problem is he doesn't get very many bonus, and he's just been getting the odd goal. I mean, he has got quite a few returns this year, 7 and 5, very similar to Nicholas Jackson. He's actually 2 behind Nicholas Jackson or 3, whatever it is. But yeah, he's just been, unfortunately, the fact that he's not getting any bonus points is just killing him as an option. Morgan Rogers, this is the week to sell him. No, it's not. You hold this week against Arsenal, got an assist, and then you just play him the next 3 weeks. Easy. In terms of the transfers transfers in for the round, Chris Wood leads the way. 402,000, man. This man is now, his shot conversion is about his ownership now, 36.5%. I'm pretty sure his shot conversion went over 35 after the Liverpool game. Literally had 1 shot that I recall in the game, and it went in from a 0.16 expected goal involvement chance. Like, that's insane. The man just continues to score. That's 3 goals and an assist in his last 3 weeks. 4 attacking returns. With the Southampton fixture staring him in the face, he's a great transfer in. Isak, still can't believe that only 56% of people have him. He's the understandably good forward. Tom, the fool in our league, doesn't have Isak and continues to get burnt by this man. He's now hit 100 points in like the last 8 weeks. It's just stupid. Like, the form, 11 points is his form at the moment. In crazy. Sells, great goalkeeper. You would expect them to definitely shut out the Southampton defence. It is a nice little run of fixtures for the next 4. Then I expect them to concede some goals between 26 and 28. But then from then on, they're a really good asset again for pretty much the rest of the season. So, Forest have just been so good defensively. I can see why a lot of their players are growing. Now, Ahmad's probably going to rise very close to the top off the back of his 20-point haul. He's now up to 5.5 mil. I don't know why people sold him in the first place. I know that they sold him around the Bournemouth Wolves game. And lots of people have been reactionary transferring out these budget options this year. Just hold one. If it's not a good week for him, just put him on your bench. If it's a great week for him, like this week, you put him on your field. It's pretty simple. There's no need to be wasting transfers there. I definitely will not be. I'm pretty happy. And also something to take in a note here. With the blank game week in 29, Manchester United have Leicester away. Like, that is one of the best fixtures for a team to have for that blank game week. High captaincy potential for the Manchester United assets in that week, depending on the form that they're in. They've also got Ipswich at home in 27. It's a nice little run of fixtures. They've got Everton, Palace, Fulham, all the teams that they could be doing well against. Great asset. And definitely, I would definitely recommend buying him. If you are unlucky like me and have Bruno captain, I wouldn't be selling Bruno this week. Yes, it would be nice to have Anthony Gordon in my team. And look, Phil Foden could potentially come Anthony Gordon in game week 23 with Southampton away. Definitely like the look of that. Or I may just go without him. Like, obviously, the blank game week potentially happening in game week 29 means that I may just hold off him until I wildcard in game week 30 and then bring him in then. Yes, he's probably going to cost about 8 million then. But in reality, they do have some harder fixtures coming up. They've obviously got Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham, but then it's Man City, Forest, and Liverpool. And Man City and Liverpool are both away from home. And Forest, who are really good defensively, are at home. So like, that's not going to be an easy run of fixtures there for Newcastle. So for me, I am thinking of going without. But if you are looking to buy, 100%, I can guarantee those three Newcastle players are the three players to triple up on. They're the best players, and they've just been delivering returns every single week. The only one that hasn't was Hall, and that was 2 weeks ago when they played Tottenham, and obviously blank because they conceded. But other than that, they've just been super consistent, super good, and Newcastle are on an absolute tear at the moment. Now, Ahmad is definitely the best budget buyer in the game, but Alanga is a close second place, up to 5.3 million now. This man was below 5, I think, at one point. But he's now returned in his last 6 weeks. He's a little bit like Enzo Fernandez in terms of how long can he keep this going, how secure are the minutes. You're looking at the fixtures, it's not worth... It's like it's pretty good play. Like, the other thing I'll say as well, Nottingham Forest have Ipswich away in game week 29, that blank game week. So if you're forward planning and you're just quite happy to leave him on your bench between 26, 27 and 28, realistically, I don't think Forest are going to score too many goals in that space of time, then that's perfectly fine. And I think that that's a really good strategy. And you play the fixtures. That's what I'd be doing. I wouldn't be expecting him to start every week and continue getting those returns every week, but definitely a decent option. Iwobi and Robinson and all the Fulham assets. Obviously, they've got the Leicester away fixture this week. Looks very nice on paper. Spurs at home in 29 is not ideal, and currently that's due to blank unless Liverpool can overturn that, which I expect them to do. Wolves is obviously not too bad as well, but I don't think I'd be going to Iwobi. Robinson is definitely the pick of the Fulham defenders, and if you can afford him, that's who I'd be going to. The man has just got 9 assists for the season, 5 million. I wouldn't be spending more than 5 million on him, but he's still a good option at 5 mil. Raul Jimenez, again, nice little run of fixtures still for Fulham over the next 5 or 6 weeks. I'd be quite happy to have him in my team, but again, I'd rather spend up and get a decent forward in. The one player that I would say, not a good buy this week with Liverpool at home, but after this week, 23 onwards through to 29, nice little run of fixtures there for Brentford. Johan Wissa, great underlying data as well. If you have a look at his data for the season, he's actually higher than Nicholas Jackson. He's 0.64 expected goals per 90 minutes, 0.04 expected assists. This man just continues to rack up the XG. He looks really good in that Brentford team. Love him as an option, 100%. Now, Savinho wouldn't be going there. Phil Foden, he's a great buyer, but you've missed the points. But unfortunately, you had to have him when I bought him in, which was 5 weeks ago. This man has been super good, though. 15, 8, 6, 2. I've owned him for that stretch there post the Aston Villa game. I said after the Aston Villa game, he was worth a punt, and the XG numbers have definitely backed that up. 0.26 expected goals, 0.37 expected assists per 90. The Ipswich game looks amazing. Potentially the Chelsea at home fixture will be okay, but then I'm not keen on him at all for the next 3 or 4 weeks after that. So for me, it's not a buy. But if you've got him, you're definitely keeping him and you're rolling this week. Milenkovic is probably the buy for a Forest defender, and that's definitely somewhere I'm looking to go, particularly if I do make a transfer this week and it's Colwill out, it will be him. But I obviously looked at the Chelsea fixtures as I talked through before, and they have really good fixtures when I need them. So for me, maybe it's not a sell. Maybe it's just a hold. But I do like the fact that Forest have that blank game week where they're versing Ipswich. Like that, it looks like a guaranteed no-brainer that's going to be a clean sheet, you would think. In terms of other assets being bought here, Rodgers, people preparing for next week, and obviously he's returned the last couple, and he obviously scored in the FA Cup as well. Brian and Buemo, maybe people jumping on a little bit early there, but I wouldn't be going there. Gabco, ditto. I'd just be holding off on some of these transfers. Gibbs White, good transferring, particularly for this week. Southampton fixture straight in front. Semenyo, not a good option for the next 3, but then the Bournemouth run really opens up again from game week 25. That's where I'll be looking to target him if I was to transfer him in. Nico Williams, if you're looking to save some budget, great transfer. Trent Alexander-Arnold, why is he even on this list? Why are people buying him? Honestly, what a waste of money. Solanke, I can understand why people go on there. That is the most popular Tottenham asset this week. I think also that's all I'd say on the Tottenham assets. Now, moving into the wildcard draft. So this is the second segment of this video. So if you're still here with me, please smash a like button, sub if you're new as well. In terms of a wildcard draft for game week 22, what you've got to keep in mind here is that you shouldn't be wildcarding, because realistically your team should hopefully be looking okay. Like lots of people's teams are looking very similar now. As long as you've got Salah, Palmer and Isak, you're sweet. If you haven't got any of those players, maybe potentially you do need a wildcard to sort your team out. But if you've got all them, I think you just roll with the rest. So the teams in great form have to be backed in, like Forest, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Palace. Their assets are performing well as well, so that's also something to keep in mind. And if you don't have them, they are going to be hurting your rank. Like Gordon has been hurting my rank the whole time, but Phil Foden this week destroyed people that had Anthony Gordon because it was a direct, pretty much play. I'd either have Anthony Gordon or I'd have Phil Foden. At the moment, I've got Phil Foden. So you also have to be aware of Palace, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, Fulham, Forest, Brighton fixture runs that are ongoing in game week 22. Now, the thing is, do you want to shake up your forward line? Because obviously we have the fact that, Isak's a brilliant, but outside of that, Wood's been very good the last 3 weeks, but the rest have all been relatively inconsistent, which is not ideal. So, as I said, Jackson, I think earlier in the video, is a great hold, but I'm not 100% sure. If you're on wildcard, would he stay? For me, he stays. Mateta would be the other option to bring in. I just don't think that he's actually that good. And when you compare his numbers for the season compared to Jackson's, it doesn't even compare. Like Jackson beats him hands down. Drafts, again, come down to personal preference and team value. You can't have everyone and working out what strategy you want. And at the moment, as I said, the template's definitely Palmer, Isak, Salah. Everything else is negotiable. And I think you probably want Hall in your defence. Like you want at least 2 Newcastle players. So without further ado, let's jump into what it's actually looking like for wildcarding in this week. So looking at the fixtures really quickly, as we can see here, Arsenal, the fixture run is actually not too bad for them, even though I'm not really including any of their assets. If they sign a forward, that will become and this is the beauty of the transfer window, they could become a really good asset. Like if they bought an actual attacking player that can actually attack, look really good. Obviously, Morgan Rogers has a really nice run, particularly for Aston Villa, but in reality, I just struggle to bring him into the team when Ahmad's in such good form for Man United. Bournemouth, again, their fixture run's okay, but the next 3 weeks are not pretty. Brentford, a little bit off in the future. Brighton are actually in a really nice fixture run, but I just don't really rate any of their assets, so that's just something to keep in mind. Chelsea's run is still really good. As I said there, you can see there's a lot of green still on their fixture run. No need to panic there at all if you own any of their assets. Crystal Palace, they are in the fixture run. They've got West Ham and Brentford, Everton, Ipswich, Villa, Fulham, Man United. It's a really nice fixture run for them. Everton, wouldn't be getting too excited about them. Liverpool's run is okay, but they've got a couple of tougher fixtures in there, but they do have a lot of nice fixtures in there as well. So keep that in mind. Man United's run there doesn't look that good on paper, but again, I think they could be worth a little bit of punt. Newcastle's ditto, but they've obviously got the Southampton fixture very soon. West Ham as well on the horizon. Nottingham Forest, nice little fixtures there. And Spurs, as you can see there, looking pretty good from at least an attacking perspective, they just can't defend. So I wouldn't recommend them from a defensive standpoint. Now, back to the points. Obviously, here we go to the game week history, and I am now up to 107.3 million team value. That obviously impacts upon what you can actually do with your draft and whether you are going to wildcard. But look, I'm pretty damn happy with my team as it stands. So as you can see there, I've got 2 free transfers. Realistically, in terms of making any moves, the only people I'm unhappy with at the moment, like long term, that are going to be problematic for me, is Phil Foden. I'm not transferring him this week with Ipswich away. That'd just be dumb. Other than that, it's looking at Colwill and Kirkes are the only 2 other players I'm not really keen on. And probably now Jurriën Timber is fitting into that category as well. Only because of the fact that I'm unsure where I want to go in terms of tripling up on Liverpool for the double game week 24. So yeah, that's the quandary I'm in. So with that having said, what would I change in my draft? So if we click over here, I've actually saved 2 million. Like I've left 2 million in the bank. And at the moment, I only have 0.6. So I'm not even spending all my money. I really toyed with bringing in Sells as the goalkeeper, and realistically you could. But I'm not sure what to do in terms of the Liverpool players. And Alisson Becker is a definite no-brainer for me, because at least I don't have to think about it. He's going to be playing, as long as he doesn't get himself injured, he's going to make that double game week and he's going to start both games. Don't have to worry about that. Fabianski, again, he's obviously still being picked as the number 1 goalkeeper. So while he is, and his price point just means that you have to have him 4.1 mil. Like, as long as Graham Potter keeps him in, I think that's happy days. The second goalkeeper, as long as they're playing, that's all you really want. You don't want to have to sit there and worry about rotating them every week. Canati obviously makes it in here instead of Jurriën Timber, and the reason why is obviously the double game week. Now, realistically, he's probably still building his fitness up a little bit. Only played 65 minutes against Nottingham Forest, but the fixtures coming up: Ipswich away in Ipswich at home in 23, Bournemouth away, Everton away in that double game week, and then Wolves at home. It's a very nice little run of fixtures, provided he stays fit for that. They've also got Southampton in 28. Potentially Liverpool could blank in 29. We just have to wait and see on that one. That is the tie that's most likely 50-50 at this point in time. Now, Milinkovic comes in instead of Kirkes. The main reason why is just because I just really want a Forest defender. Every time Forest play, they're killing my rank because I don't have any of their defenders. It didn't hurt me for the first time in a long time this week, but realistically, I want one of them. And I think Milinkovic is probably the best. I don't want to be paying up 5.3 million for Aina, and I can't justify that when Milinkovic has the superior attacking threat amongst all the Forest defenders. If you're saving money and budget was an option, Nico Williams, 4.3 million, you can save $500,000 there straight on budget, easily negotiable. Now, I've got Munoz in here, and again, you could easily have Mark Gahey in here. You could even have Mitchell in here as well. His numbers, definitely from an attacking sense, particularly goal-wise, are the best among the Palace defenders. Now, I'm not convinced these green fixtures are actually as easy as they look. I expect them to concede away at West Ham. I expect them to concede at home to Brentford. And I expect them to concede away at Man United. So there's going to be no clean sheets there, which means he needs an attacking return in the next 3 weeks. Everton at home, I can definitely foresee that being a clean sheet. And then I can see the Ipswich game being a clean sheet. But then some of the other ones, maybe not, which is why I'm not so as keen on, just making nilly-willy transfers. But if I was on wildcard, I definitely think I'd have Munoz in the team. Robinson, again, covering the Fulham defence, has been amazing. And Hall, obviously, from Newcastle, looks brilliant. Now, in terms of the midfield, I've only changed one midfielder here. Now, you can call this my blind Bruno love or blind Man United love. The XG, though, for Bruno's actually been pretty good. So 0.6 in that game against Southampton. He was unlucky not to have some sort of an attacking return. It's just one of them things, unfortunately. Sometimes it doesn't go your rub of the green. He did still get 2 bonus points, though, which was nice, considering I definitely captained him as well. For the season, though, he's still really good. 0.36 expected goals, 0.2 expected assists. That's over half an expected goal involvement per game. There's not a lot to get concerned with. And as I said, 27 Ipswich, 29 when lots of teams are going to be blanking, Leicester. Like, even looking further ahead to game week 33, Wolves at home, game week 34, potentially when that could be a blank. He's got Bournemouth, not a bad fixture either. He's not the worst hold in the world. And for me, I think that he does make the cut. I know doubling up in the Man United midfield is a little bit fraught with danger, but in reality, this could be a Morgan Rogers, same price, 5.5 as Ahmad. I just think that Ahmad's in such good form, and he's their most creative spark, that if Man United are going to be scoring goals, Ahmad's going to be involved. A bit like Bruno, they're both going to be involved. So you just have to have them. So for me, that's why I've got them. The reason why I've got 2 million left in the bank is because I have Phil Foden and I transferred him out for Gordon in this wildcard draft. It's impossible not to have this man in your team. 9, 7, 6, 10, 6, 6, 1, 8, 5 in the last 9 weeks. It's insane. His run of form is just so good. Newcastle's run is so good. The run of fixtures coming up is so good. Like, you just have to triple up. If you're on wildcard, you have to triple up on Newcastle. You could easily triple up on Crystal Palace as well. And the only other person that I did consider was getting rid of Jackson and potentially going to Mateta. Now, I'm just going to quickly show you why I didn't. Now, Mateta's numbers for the season, 6 goals, 1 assist for the season. All right? And 0.4 expected goals per 90, 0.05 expected assists. Again, looking at Nicholas Jackson, 0.59 expected goals per 90, 0.06 expected assists per 90, 9 and 5. Like, he's absolutely monstering Mateta. They've both been available all season. So, for me, it's a no-brainer still having him in. I just think that forward line is the best one. It gives me so many benching headaches every week, which player to leave on the bench. But hey, it is what it is. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether I've missed someone, whether you do something different on Wildcard. Again, this week I've just gone with that. I really, as I said before, I really love my current team as it is. Like, if Phil Foden pops off this week, I'm quite happy with it. So again, that is with 0.6 left in the bank. I don't really know if I'm going to make a transfer now. I did obviously look at, as I said, bringing in Milinkovic potentially for Colwill. Like, I looked at Kirkes as well. Like, Kirkes' fixture run really opens up in game week 25 though, and I think that's something I want to, keep him around for. And he's obviously got that attacking potential, whereas Colwill is the one that has probably the least attacking potential out of a lot of them. But the fixtures on paper look really good. So maybe he's the one that goes, and I do make that defensive transfer this week and just bring in Milinkovic for him. I just look at like who I'd play this week on my team, and it's probably Robinson, Hall, and Colwill. Like, Colwill at home to Wolves, is that better than Milinkovic at home to Southampton? I don't think it is, which is why potentially I'm going to lean towards getting rid of him for Milinkovic. But other than that, that's my team. Loving it. Green Arrow, 17,600, whatever it was. Drop a like, definitely drop a sub if you've made it all the way through to the end. And I'll join you later today or early tomorrow for my team selection, final thoughts, and deadline day stream tomorrow. We'll be back on from 9 a.m. in the morning, UK time, 5 p.m. in the afternoon, Australian Western time. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. That's been the D Unit.